So this is a little blast from the past. This was an article that they did in the newspaper. Do you remember what newspapers were? Saddleback Valley News. It was our local community newspaper, and they did it featuring us. It was cute in our little C21 jackets. That was the day, and that's our neighbor Glenn in the background.
So cute.
At any rate, today I wanted to go quickly through some of what Ed I know has already gone over with you guys, which is laying the proper foundation. So I think you talked about doing that first little card, the handwritten like card that went out, and then doing a survey to start the things off in a really positive way. How many people here did that?
I did the handwritten card a few years ago.
Okay, so you've done it.
So you should start off this. I missed the other meeting. So you write a handwritten card, and then you did this.
Yeah, it was basically introducing yourself before you go to the door the first time, saying, "I'm going to be stopping by," and you handwrite it. You can handwrite the body and just leave the dear blank, and then you print it off that way, and so it looks like it's handwritten, and then you fill in the name, so you aren't doing all that writing, but then you do handwrite the envelope. First time, only time you're going to send first class mail to everybody in a handwritten note, but it's to get their attention, and so it's a little bit of a cost. The only time I ever mailed to our geo farm was this, one and only. And then, so I sent these out, and then I sent them out in batches, and usually about 3 or 4 days later was when I'd start door knocking. And then we door knocked through the neighborhood, and I made mark of everybody I caught that first time through, and I went back for the next few weeks. Every time I went back, I just hit the homes that nobody was home at yet, trying to hit 100% that first time through. Only time I ever did that too. It just was to set a really solid foundation, like I was saying. And then did this survey, and we did it a few different times because we started with just a certain number of homes, and then we got our groove going, we expanded, and then we expanded again. So when we finished the last part of the homes we were doing, and really for the bulk of the 18 years that we geo-farmed, we were doing a little over 400 homes. I think it was 420 homes, something like that. I used to know the exact number, but it's been a few years, yeah. Any rate, so this survey though kind of gives you a demographic profile of the community. And what we did is, after doing the survey, and the questions changed from time to time depending on who we were, or what was going on. Like one time it was during the Olympics, and the Olympics were gonna be in our backyard, so we had questions about that. When I did it the first time, I had young kids, so we did like I asked would they want to be doing a children's play group or a welcoming committee. And so things like that we were able then to build off of and do things for the community off of. But what was really interesting is, in doing this, I got a good profile of the community, like which street had the most kids on it, which street had the most original owners. And I was able to put out a summary of all the information I got to the neighborhood. And that was my my second door knocking, basically, was door knocking the results. And people got a kick out of that. They really did. It was fun to see that who had the most kids or whatever. It also will give you an idea for promotional ideas and events, and that's kind of what I'm going to focus on today as I go through my slides here. But if you've already been farming and you haven't done that first letter, it's not too late to do the survey. You could still do the survey, just do it from a slightly different angle, not your first time through, but you want to kind of survey the neighborhood and see how you can be servicing them better. So with that being said,
Question?
yes.
So when you do you're saying in the letter you put, where does that survey? How do you give that survey?
Oh, I go to the door. I'm door knocking.
Oh, so you sent the letter,
Yes.
and then you combine.
And I said, in the letter, I said, I'm going to be stopping by in the next few days to introduce myself.
I see.
And then when I come by, I go, hi, I'm Angie with Regency Real Estate. Did you get the introductory letter I sent out? And whether they say yes or no, it doesn't really matter. Well, I was just stopping by today to take a quick little survey, because I'm going to be servicing this community, and I want to see the best way possible I can be doing that. And so then, would you help me by answering a few quick questions? And if they give you a little hesitation, I go, I promise they'll be quick. And
fill it out.
And
so
I
you
fill it out
ask
while I'm
them.
talking to him, and I just ask each question, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Did you fill out
okay.
410 sheets then?
Well, I didn't, first of all, we started with
smaller.
250,
Oh.
and then we
Think of the
we
best
did
way to
another
collect
group and then another group
information.
over a period of years. So about by the
Summarize
third
it
year,
for
we were
you.
doing all 400. It was
Like a
410,
Google
by the
form.
way, what he just said. And So I did them at different increments, but the first 250, I went through for 2 weeks. I went through almost every day just to try and catch everybody home. And so each time I went through, I had fewer homes to hit because I'd already hit so many homes. And then after I'd gone through X number of times, I said, okay, I've done it. I've come as close to hitting everybody as I could. So the screen here says, to be successful, you must be willing to do the things others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. So there was no magic about our success, but we were willing to consistently do things that others weren't doing. And I think I was also motivated by you can have all the things you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. And I really was about trying to meet people's needs. And I know that's in the hearts of all you guys here. But a question you need to ask yourself, are you going to be successful or are you going to be like the others? So like Ed put it out there to do this letter and the survey and stuff. And as we saw, nobody really followed through with that. So I'm going to share a lot today. Ruthie, you kind of set me up perfectly saying, what are you guys going to hand out? I'm going to share with you how you can put together a really good annual plan to be out there in your neighborhood and how everything kind of plays together so you have plenty of information to hand out. Our problem towards the end, and mind you, we were farming weekly. We were going through weekly with handouts. My problem was sometimes I'd have 3 and 4 handouts a week just to stay on top of it because we had so much information to get out into the community. And I'll show you how that started to come about. So, do you want to be successful?
Yes.
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 Good answer. But how can you tell what someone's committed to? Whoa, sorry about that. How can you tell what someone's committed to?
By the results.
By the results, exactly. So we're going to talk about how to do that. So the first thing I want to talk about is laying the cornerstone. If anyone's ever heard me train on any part of prospecting, I always have my one mantra, and you can ask this about yourself in whatever method of prospecting you're doing, whether it's open houses, geofarming, social sphere. Are you doing these 2 things? And does anyone remember what my mantra is?
Being consistent.
Consistent. Personal contact. So consistency and personal contact, that really is the foundation to the success of any method of prospecting. If you're doing it consistent enough and it involves personal contact. Because sometimes we'll consistently post to Facebook, or we'll consistently send out mailers, or or emails or whatever, but you aren't making any personal contact, and I can assure you it's a little helpful. But that should be the layover of the personal contact. That's the consistencies on top of the personal contact being first. In fact, I should flip that, say personal contact and consistency. That being said, the consistency or the personal contact starts with door knocking. So let's talk about some of the best practices for door knocking. What do you think some of them might be?
Dress well.
That was my number one, yes. Dress
Nice.
professionally. What does that look like today? I get pushed back on this.
I think it's more business casual.
So what's business casual?
What I wear every day, yoga pants, tennis shoes.
You know Angie's
You
gonna
can
be
do the
like,
Fetterman and just do the
I think
hoodie.
if it's not too hot, like guys even with a nice polo shirt, even though like they've had their logo,
Branding.
or whatever, and like a pair of slacks, and nowadays you can get away with those fancier tennis shoes for door knocking. So I think kind of like that.
I would agree to an extent. I used to be like no, you have to be really, really professional. I mean, we wore our C21 vest and jackets every day back in the day. But no, then we moved to Lakeview and we didn't have those anymore. But I still would dress professionally with generally I'd go out in a dress or pants and a nice blouse, dress slacks and a nice blouse. And Ed always wore a shirt. I don't know, did you wear a tie? You did wear a tie back then. Always.
Never, one time, I didn't wear a tie. You wanna tell the story?
I was going to tell that story.
Oh, what were
yeah.
we doing? Pumpkins.
Okay, so every year in October, we would hand out pumpkins, and I'm talking full-size pumpkins to 410 homes. It was not a pretty, it was very blue collar, let's just say.
Wow.
Because you had to go to the store, get them, put them in your car, take them home, unload them, then load them back into your car to take out street by street to do the door knocking. And we kind of washed in between, but it was a dirty business. So every year we do it dressed up, and this one year we thought, let's wear our C21 t-shirts, dress slacks still, and dress shoes. I found comfortable dress shoes that I could wear, flats. But we went out, and after we'd gone through one street, we'd already had 3 comments from people going, "Oh, you're dressed casual today." Now we're handing them stinking pumpkins, and we were still in our C21, garb or whatever. But Ed and I looked at each other. I guess we better go back and get dressed. So we drove home, changed our clothes, and went out and finished
Really?
farming.
Whoa.
But, yeah,
Wow.
but just saying, people,
Feedback.
whether or not now these people knew us well enough by this time that they actually said something, and they noticed that it was different. So just recognize, this is my closing on dressing professionally, is that I don't think anyone will ever go with you because you're dressed casual, like they'll be attracted more to go with you. But there could be people that won't work with you because you aren't dressed professionally and they don't see you as a professional. So just saying. So just think about it when you're out there with clients and people. I don't care how well you know them. And we have had clients, say to us before about people dressing casual. So be careful about that. Always have something to give, or that either is a thing of value or has a beneficial purpose. And also, I would say 99% of the time, make sure it has an identifying tag, because you're likely going to hit some of the people home, some people not home, and you're leaving it for them. You want them to know who it's from. We had a couple exceptions here, 2 in fact. Well, not even 2, 1. We had, at Christmas time, we gave our Christmas card with a Christmas letter that said, told about our family and the year and everything. And then we'd always have a little blurb about our real estate, but we didn't say Ed and Angie Wright from Regency Real Estate. It was from Ed and Angie, Casey, and Corey Wright, And so that wasn't as commercial. And then when we did flags through the neighborhood, that was the one time we didn't, early on I think we did do tags, but later on we didn't do tags. And a funny story there, I was reminded of this when I was talking to a friend the other day. We had been doing the farm for years, and then all of a sudden we had somebody come in against us that wanted to farm against us, which I thought was so silly, because we were really strong farmers. Go find a farm where nobody's farming rather than go up against a big farmer, and that's something for you guys to consider too. But at any rate, so we always did our 4th of July flags, so they thought, well, we'll get a head start on it and we'll do Memorial Day flags. So they did Memorial Day flags, and they actually put their tag on it. And I got multiple thank yous for the Memorial Day flags.
Oh my
So
God.
people saw us as doing what they were doing.
To
So,
which you just said, "You're welcome."
I did.
I don't think they're breaking into that farm.
So yeah, they didn't. They actually, we went up against them, I think, on 16 or 17 times. They didn't get called in on a lot of them, but we did compete against them numerous times. And we lost to them one time, and that was because they offered to buy the house if it didn't sell. And in fact, they did buy the house so they could move into the neighborhood, because they thought that was our competitive edge. And
my
later they
gosh.
moved out and no longer
Why?
farmed.
They bought the house immediately. They made the offer at the
I know.
presentation and bought it, yeah.
Yeah,
Oof.
so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
On your point on that though, I really think they commented on that because you guys were so dressed up so nice, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, you guys are taking a casual day today. It wasn't a negative, was it?
Wow.
3 people mentioned it on one street.
We went back and changed.
I think that's pretty
How's their
interesting.
tone though? I think that's what.
Yeah, because they were used to seeing you in your suit and tie.
They were having fun with us and kind of go,
Yeah.
oh, you're dressed cash today. But I don't know. Like I say,
But
I've
no,
never.
I'm
I don't
all
think
for
anyone
it.
will lose business by dressing too nice. You could lose business by
Oh.
going too cash.
Every listing appointment, I'm dressed nice. I don't go in my yoga pants, just to FYI.
I don't know.
That's not an
Okay.
appointment, I
So
don't
when
go
you
yoga
go to the
pants.
door, I'm going to go through some quick tips here. So when you go to the door, don't stand too close. Kind of stands to reason. And always introduce yourself. Don't assume that they remember who you are, because although you've been going through over and over again, this may be only the second time they're seeing you at their door, or maybe the first, and they don't know who you are yet. It says it takes people 6 times to see you face to face before they really start to remember who you are. So don't not introduce yourself. And don't talk real estate. This was kind of our thing. Don't talk real estate unless they bring it up first. Keep your conversation brief and upbeat, and then they won't, worry about you at the door. I remember one gal, Ed, you do remember who this is, 760 Sanaho, Phillips, yeah, Sherry Phillips. Every time I went to the door early on, she'd always go, oh, I'm on the phone, can you be quick? And it's like, oh yeah, I'm just stopping by, and I'd be quick, and she'd be back on the phone. But kind of question whether or not she was on the phone that many times right when I happened to come to the door. But the real irony there is they still live in that house, but years later, her daughter wanted to go into real estate, and she sought us out to help coach her daughter a little bit as she was making that
That's
choice in
cute.
career.
And you said,
They-
hold on, I'm on the phone.
Yeah, exactly. But again, just, you know, she respected us enough that she thought that was a good career for her daughter to go into. But okay, so this is the idea of what I might do if I was stopping at the door to door knock. So you guys this weekend, you're going by with a lottery ticket, right? So, okay, so I'll say I'm Angie, not Lynn, okay? Knock, ring. They answer the door. Hi, I'm Angie with Regency Real Estate Brokers, just stopping by with a lottery ticket for you. And I hand it off, and then I step back a half a step, and I pause to see what they say. Now, they might just say, oh, thank you. And I can tell they want to be kind of done. I go, have a nice day, and I turn and walk away. Or perhaps they say, oh, what's the real estate market doing right now? Where are rates at now? Or what's that house down the street listed for? Those are the types, you're engaged in a conversation that they started on real estate, not you. And so, but when you're really quick like that and you always have something to give, first few times they're a little sus, but after you've done it for a few times, now all of a sudden they're like, this is like never a problem to answer the door. She's quick, to the point, gives me something, and she's gone. And then they start to warm up to you because they see you're not there to pound on them. Because none of us likes to be pounded on and sold. And I don't want to be that person, no to you, I'm sure. So any questions on that?
I
Because
do.
that's kind of key.
I like
So
that.
you didn't say like, that's it, you just said your name and just gave him something,
Hi, I'm Angie with Regency Real Estate,
Cool.
just stopping by with a bottle of Martinelli's for you.
and then see where it goes from there.
Pause, and then if nothing really is said, then have a nice day. Merry Christmas. Yes,
What if there's a no solicitor sign?
I'm not soliciting, are you?
No, we're not selling anything.
I'm
but
not
it-
selling anything.
Okay.
What if this did happen to me one time though. I was doing the farm and I walked up to the house and it had one of those universal no with realtor in the middle. No realtors. And I'm like,
Oh.
make
That's
matters
different.
worse, these people were in my welcoming committee. I'd been to their house.
Oh my goodness.
Whoa, what happened? Come to find out, there was another realtor that was in the neighborhood door knocking, and he was pesky. He was like a leech. And so like she'd be bringing her groceries in from the garage. Oh, let me help you. And he's walking into her house and everything. He could not get her out. He couldn't get. So that's who that sign was meant for, not me. And we later worked with them on a transaction. So yeah, no, it was, yeah.
Well, there's
So,
also, I've seen.
But I
signs
never stopped when it said no soliciting.
Yeah.
Now, I did, through the years, 410 homes, I had 3 different people that asked me not to come back. I respected that. They did it nice. Well, the one lady yelled at her daughter to shut the door in my face. And the daughter's like, sorry, gotta close the door.
These will come early on.
Yeah, they do.
Once you're in there, no one does
Yeah.
that. But it'll come on in your first 1 or 2 door knockings probably.
And truth is, we ended up doing stuff with that lady. We, not real estate wise, but I helped her with a notary one time. Another person that had asked us not to leave, they just didn't want the junk at their front door. We were by every week with multiple flyers.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have wanted it either unless I went through my front door all the time. So it's like, no, it was always pretty respectfully done. And as he said, once you're in there for a while, people receive you, even the ones that maybe didn't at first. So it's pretty sweet. So don't let those early things mess with your head and talk you out of doing it. Now, you want to be professional and know. Part of being professional is knowing information about the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Don't get caught. What current interest rates are? Have they changed yet today? When are they announcing it? Ed, did they announce interest rates yet today?
I know they're on 6%.
Oh, I figured they're going to keep it at that. Is kind of what the general consensus is. They're not going to change. But you want to know the currently listed properties, the recent sales in the neighborhood. And just all that stuff. So before you go out, be sure you're constantly, you should set yourself up on a feed so you always know any new activity going on in your neighborhood.
And you need to have a 20-second, we talked about this at a couple of meetings ago, a 20-second elevator speech when they ask you what's happening in the market right now. You need to be able to have 20 seconds, this is what I'm gonna say.
And there's no better team to have you in tune with that because
Go.
we do
Ready,
it
go.
here all the time.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
The market right now is good. It's a buyer's market and a seller's market. Sellers are putting their home on. If the homes are good and priced right, they sell. If they're not, they don't. So you gotta do it right, but if you do, they're out there. It's good for buyers. Why? Rates are down quite a bit from what they have been, and there's still not quite the demand there was in the past. So I call this a good market for buyer and seller.
Can you come with me?
Yeah.
Or Angie, because I love her
That's the
really.
market
he's
we
very
use all the
definitely.
time, no matter what the market is.
Just the same.
Joey, you can just say, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
Getting
unbelievable.
better. That was the old Zig Ziglar.
Tommy
Hopkins.
Unbelievable, but
Tommy
getting
Hopkins.
better. Zig Ziglar said it too,
Oh, did
and
he?
he was before Tommy.
No, Tommy Hopkins said, no, he said something else.
He had a lot. I have a
Yeah.
lot of Tommy-isms, but
Yeah.
that was a Zid. So you want to know the floor plans and the square footages on all the models in your farm.
Gosh.
And how many people here have previewed all the properties in their farm? Oh,
I
two.
don't-
People own it.
So guys, the one thing you
Previewing's a
must
lost
do,
art.
the one thing you must do is you must put yourself down, so that you get all of the listings in your farm, okay?
Yes.
So if you're not doing that, because you need to know, if you're out in your farm and they said, is there anything in the market right now? And you go, I don't know, I'll look and let you know. Are you kidding? Like, no, there's a 770 over there, there's a 750 here, 720, that just sold. You're the expert, you need to be the expert, and you're a great personality goes only so far. Knowledge takes you all the way through the end.
Oh, it builds credibility. And here's the thing, you need to not only know that that 770 there is on the market for whatever, you need to know the inside of that home, the upgrades, the everything that's happened, that they changed the 2 bedrooms into 1 bedroom and it's, now only a 4 bedroom instead of a 5 or whatever. You need to know that. And how would you know that? By previewing. And yet only 2 of you said you've ever gone out and previewed your farm. It's really critical. And that's the only way you're gonna get to know all the floor plans from the inside out. Now, if you've been in the business and you're gonna farm somewhere that you've known real well, you probably know all the farms or the homes in the area you're gonna farm. But you need to know those floor plans, and not just on a piece of paper, because you need to know anything that comes on, what they've done.
Yeah, when you said,
Or have-
I go to the open houses, anytime there's a new listing, so I do preview.
But you can preview without an open house. You can call and say, I'd like to
Oh,
come
to
by and
see it?
preview your home. I don't know where that became such a
Wait,
lost
you
art.
mean just once it's for sale, you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't understand where that became such a lost art. Like,
But
people don't go out and preview anymore.
Sometimes they don't let you see it until the open house,
Yeah,
Just
sometimes.
FYI.
Sometimes.
sometimes. But would
kinda
it
like
be,
that. I don't
would
want
it be
people to
something
find-
good to, like, when they say, well, tell me what's happening in the community, just have maybe a small, like, do your homework and know what homes are for sale just recently and just say, oh yeah, here's a copy
Absolutely.
for you.
Anything like that would
Okay.
be powerful
Okay.
good. It shows you're in the business. That's awesome. Yeah, no, for sure. Never walk across lawns. That might sound simple, but
No, that's
true.
huge.
Compliment people on their
Avoid
house
sprinklers.
whenever possible. It's funny, you don't realize what an authority source you are on a home. I mean, to us, we're just regular people, but to them, you're an authority, and if you say something that they've done, you notice something that they've done new on their home, that makes them feel good, and we wanna make them feel good. And if they're not home, write a note. Say, I love all the beautiful seasonal flowers you put in your home. Okay, that was one way I did mail into my farm still sometimes, because I wrote personal notes and mailed them to them. Hand wrote them out and then mailed them.
And when we talk about the notes, is when you're out there and you see things that they've done, improvements, things like that, you always want to make notes. The other thing you want to do while you're out there is every time you're out there, you want to make notes back in your database as to talks you had or things like that. Remember, it's your FBI file. You need to know everything you can about every single house. And the thing you can't do, your memory is not going to work after a while. There's too many people you've talked to and too many things. So you've got to go back, and after you're done, we always try to write a note or two for people we talked to or whatever.
Yeah,
And
that
we
too.
also tried to make notes on our database about our discussions or things we saw or whatever.
Could be a
Need to
new
make
garage
notes.
door, new
Yeah.
windows, they re-landscaped or something, just anything like that you can notice, put it out there. And like you said, even if you got caught in a good conversation with somebody, write them a little note afterwards. Those things are powerful and they build momentum in your neighborhood. Start servicing people before they list. He mentioned the Campbells, who was our first listing. That was, okay, so off of the survey, so I mailed the note, a few days later I went by and did the survey. She had a bunch of questions about 2 particular things. One was there was 2 vacant lots that were one was supposed to be a school and the other one was supposed to be a park. And it's like, what's gonna happen with those? And then the other thing was that I got a lot on was at the bottom of the hill. We really needed a traffic light, which it's been there now for years, but at that time it didn't have one. So I didn't even know that those were questions. Like, I didn't know what I didn't know until I started talking to people in the neighborhood. And but she was asking questions about that, so I said, you know what, I don't know for sure, but let me get back to you. So we weren't Mission Viejo was not even a city back then, but I went to the council, whatever it was called, and found out the information about what was going to be happening to those two particular areas, and got back to her. She ended up being our first listing. So it might be they need a garage door opener, they need a painter, they need a window washer, anything like that. You want to be their source. And don't ever resent that, because that's building their confidence in you, and you're their go-to person. I had a lady whose kitchen had caught on fire, and she called me and said, Angie, my kitchen caught on fire, what do I do? And I'm like, well, did you call the fire department? She goes, oh yeah, no, the fire's out now. What do I do now? It's like, I was like her source of info, but she scared me. I thought maybe she hadn't even called the fire department. I'm not that good a source. But do start servicing people, and I'll share some examples later where this played out really well for us. So the personal contact starts with door knocking, but what about the consistency? The consistency is through that, the handouts that you drop off. We're gonna say every other week, although we did it weekly, but
We're saying
every other
twice
week.
a month, yeah.
Yeah, it's almost easier to do every other week, but yeah, if you wanna do it twice a month, however you're gonna do it. Need to blend business with community mindedness. The reason I say that is years ago, I had coached Jack Anderson. He had had a small farm, kind of low end, and he wanted to go into a higher price range, so he's gonna do it through geo farming. He wanted to raise his, median price. And so he started doing this farm, and he did it weekly, monthly. He door knocked. I mean, he did it to the T, the program. And all of a sudden, he noticed he was getting some of the activity, but this other new gal who was a brand new agent, and he'd been in for years at that point, and was a very successful agent. This other gal was getting business that he never even got called in on. And he comes to find out she had been a housewife that just got her license, came in the business. It's like, how is she getting in? And I'm not even getting called in. Well, as it turned out, she was getting in there and being very relational. He was doing weekly handouts, but everything was business. And so she had a heart for the community. He was showing how professional he was. Both are important. So when we kind of analyzed what was going on there, and he started doing more community-minded things, all of a sudden he took off in there, and she was nowhere to be found, because he definitely had the greater skills. So at any rate, it's important to have that blend of both. So I'm gonna, as we go through here, help you how you could set up a schedule for door knocking, promotional ideas, and a major project, which I'm gonna go into now. And from that, you'll be able to create your community-minded type things. So let's get going. I would encourage you to do 6 promotional items a year. And what I mean by this is it's something that is a fun way to engage in the neighborhood in a non-real estate related way. That gives the community, you're touching within the community without expecting anything for them to give you in return. You're just giving. It's kind of like a door knocking. You're just giving. You aren't really asking for anything at that. You're not soliciting. So you can see in the background here of the promotional items screen that the Academy Award, that was one of the things that we used to do each year, was have people guess who they thought would be the 6 main categories. And if they got it all right, they got a set of 4 tickets to go to the movies. So you could have multiple winners, and oftentimes you didn't get anybody. So then you just gave it to who came closest. But other promotional ideas might be the company promos, like the Valentine promo, the Mother's Day promo. And might I remind you, on those 2, you don't even have to create the flyer, it's already done for you. Easter egg coloring contest. If you've got kids in the neighborhood, and everyone's a winner whenever you do a kid thing, you can get cute little items that,
participation trophies.
Exactly, yeah, they all win, yeah. And but that type of thing, if you've got kids, 4th of July flags, I counted that as a promotional item. So the week we did flags, we didn't do any other handout. Food collection for the homeless or local food bank, that's always a nice charitable thing to do. Pumpkin pie drawing, I know some of you guys do that type of thing, but these would be the types of things that are promotional ideas. You're giving to the community in a way that isn't even real estate related. It's just a fun way to connect. Now, with these, you basically get 2 handouts for everyone, most of them. Like the Oscar contest, the company promos, the coloring contest, and the pumpkin pie contest. You are going to hand out telling them what you're doing, and then you're gonna take pictures of the winners or the participants, and then that becomes a whole other flyer that you hand out. So now you've got 2 for 1. Now, you also wanna do one major project, sometimes 2, but at least one major project in the farm a year. And it's a memorable event or project that impacts the neighborhood in a really good way. If you do an event for your social sphere, let's say you do the Cinco de Mayo, right? Or I know Ruthie does.
Yeah.
Invite your Geo Farm to that too. You know, so that's a 2 for 1 there. And I actually did it the flip way too. I invited our social sphere to an event that I had in the Geo Farm one time. And that I got some really good participation that way too. Multiple handouts and door knockings will come out of a major project because you're going to tell them what you're doing, you're going to remind them, then you're going to do it, and then you're going to follow up and share with them what you did. So as a for instance, these would be some of the major project ideas. Morning donuts, this is a super simple one. If you have a key intersection, this actually even works for like a Steve Ruiz who has a gated community. You could do it just outside the gate. You could do it if there's a park or a school in the neighborhood, to do it near that, and just say, you know, on such and such a morning I'm going to be doing coffee and donuts. And this is something you could do twice a year. Garage sale, Easter egg hunt. A lot of these, if you decide to do them, I probably have folders of what people have done in the past, you know, the systems that they put together. Pumpkin patch. Now, we did this both ways. For the first probably 15 years, we door knocked pumpkins and took them to the house. And then that last year, we did a pumpkin patch at one of the parks in the neighborhood. Didn't have near the participation with that, but that was the one I invited my social sphere to, and then they came to it, and I did get some of them and was able to take pictures with people and follow up with that and all too. So the door knocking is far more powerful, I will say, and but you know, they both work. Neighborhood watch, that was something we did, although back then we had to rent a room out at the school so we could all have a meeting. Now we've got the Regency room for things like this. You could offer to do, if you have an association that does meetings, Steve does that here at the office where he has the association meetings, and Carol makes cookies for it. Really good, you know, connect way. Back to school ice cream social would be a cute thing. Welcoming committee and children's play group, those are 2 things I did. The welcoming committee was mostly the older people, which now I fit. But back then I was a young mom of young kids, and I did the play group too. So I did both those. E-waste recycling, that type of thing. So any of these could be your major project for the year. Some of them you could do a couple of them. It just depends. But you can see how with each of these you can tell them that it's coming, remind them that it's coming, do it, and then follow up with pictures of how successful the event was. Do any of you guys use, I think Ed showed you how you can do the farm map, but the reason I had this in here was to remind myself to say, do you guys use the Orange County title, OCT title walking farm?
Yeah.
Because Ed was talking about making notes. One of the things back in the day, everything was hard copies. We didn't have computers or tablets that we could walk with. But if you have your walking farm, you can make the notes on the house right there as you're doing it, like in between houses. So, oh, they've got a dog named Coco, write it down, you know, whatever it might be. But then you've got it always at your fingertips, what's going on. Or, you know, there's probably, I don't know the app that intimately, but I imagine there's a way to mark it to remind yourself, I want to write a note to these people afterwards, and then go back and write your notes. So
I tried to do that one time, it lost the momentum, because you gotta stop, you gotta find, you gotta click, you gotta click, and I wanna just go.
well,
Does that
like
make
I
sense?
said, successful people are willing to do the things that others are not willing to do.
What I do is I give myself voice memos instead.
That's great. It doesn't mean you have to follow that system.
Yeah, but I
Find
mean,
a
I
system.
tried because it does, you can't do notes and all that stuff in Lisa's thing, but I was just like, oh, too much work, slow me down the time.
The best thing to do is have your phone and have your database ready, so when you see somebody working in their yard, okay, and they're the next house, you pull it up and you know their name.
Yeah.
Okay, so before you get there, go, hey, Mrs. Bruno, how you doing? Okay, you know their name, you got it, you see them out there, you pull it up real quick, what's their name? Now, you may not, before you door knock, you should know everyone's name once you learn it. But until you learn it, it's gonna take a while. But if you see them out there, people love to hear their name. I think you guys have all seen what I do with names. I got list of people that I have met, and I put their names down. I use people's names everywhere I go.
Yeah, the walking farm, that's really good, what he said, you can click right on it and you can see their names right in this app.
Well, and if you wanna go old school, you can print out the list and make notes right by their name and then go back
Sure,
and add it to the app. It's whatever system works for you, but use a system and do it. And like I kinda teased you, cause you do so much already, but truly, a lot of people will say, oh, it's too much work, and they don't do it, but those are the little things that are
Yeah.
going to shoot you into the realm of success. I think there are a ton of farmers out there that go through some of the motions, but they don't do enough of the motions to really tip. It's kind of, the bamboo farmers stopping, in year 4 instead of going on to year 5. They may not even stop, but they're so, the other thing too is an inconsistency in what you do just makes you look like you're very inconsistent and not on top of your business. The consistency I talk about, like we used to mail, in the day, cause it was only mail, but we'd snail mail a regular newsletter every month is what we did. We mailed monthly to our social sphere because there was no any of this. And when we show up to a listing appointment, and we're talking, kind of promoting ourselves and stuff, we could say, with the same consistency, you get our newsletter on the 25th of every month, because it went out the exact same day every month too. That's just the tip of the iceberg as to the type of consistency and detail and care we put into our business. Now, it's a pretty powerful statement to be able to make. But if you are in your farm for 2 months really good, and then you disappear for 2 months, and then you come back in halfway the next month, with that inconsistency, you can't, first of all, say that with any conviction, and number 2, they've noticed it. And so, because especially the people that are wanting to do business, because they're paying attention to what people are doing because they're getting ready to choose. Now, another way, one of the reasons I think it works so well now to do twice a month instead of, every week, do it every other week. I'm gonna say that, I know I want to say twice a month, but is because if you gather emails, you can also send out a newsletter, an e-newsletter. And I say here bi-weekly, I don't see any problem in sending it out weekly. People, I just wanna show up in their mailbox. I don't care if they read it. I just want my just the flash there, so I stay top of mind. So when all of a sudden, this is, I think, part of where we were able to get so much referral business, is we were so top of mind because we were so present and always giving. It wasn't obnoxious that we were always present, but then when somebody at work all of a sudden gets transferred, it's like, oh, I've got the best realtor for you to use, yada yada. We literally went out on an appointment one time, and there was people, how did it work again? We'd been promoted,
This happened a few times. We'd go out, so I'd make a call and we're gonna set up a listing presentation. They said, I gotta tell you in advance that we have friends, we have 2 really good friends, and they both recommended realtors, so you're gonna be in competition with somebody else.
Yeah, that was it.
And then we get there, and they'd say, well, you were both the recommendations, so we're only meeting with you.
That's a good feeling. So yeah, but it's like people think and want to refer you when they believe in you and they see you standing out above the rest, and that's why it's important to do all those little things. So you can gather emails. You're kind of thinking, well, how do I do that? Well, if you do community events, have them sign up through email. If you do the company promos, have them email their entries into you. That type of thing. And so just constantly be thinking, anything I do, I can collect an email for.
I always want to do the ice cream thing, but with all these crazy allergies with kids, is that still something good you can do? Like, somebody's going, oh, my kid can't have it. How does that work?
It's not a,
Variety, if you have a variety, they
Yeah.
should be able to choose.
I mean, they have to
So you
navigate.
don't have to have them say sign up or just sign on a waiver or anything. You just gotta do it and just say, because I want it to be easy and right.
Yeah, no, you're overthinking that. Yeah, don't even worry about that one.
It's all the school, they keep saying, don't even bring any peanuts to the school, don't bring that, it's just kinda crazy.
No, see, it's funny at
They
my
have
girls'
an
school.
allergy, They just don't come out to the truck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they do.
Yeah, that's on them. They know
It
they're.
goes down the street, and if
They
their
don't
kid
come.
can't eat it,
Sorry,
they don't go out.
Okay, good, okay.
They're trained.
What were you saying, Angie? I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, the girls' school, they actually can bring peanut butter and stuff to school. That surprised me, but they have a peanut-free table.
Oh, interesting.
So,
Yeah,
Um,
I heard of all
Okay, so your e-newsletter, you can do things, like market updates, helpful advice about the home, holiday ideas, local business news and announcements. I love that some of you guys are going out and profiling businesses. You've done that, I know, Donna, where you go out and you videotape a new business, or a business, doesn't even have to be new, but a local community business. I think that's powerful good. And again, it's a way of giving to the community without asking for anything in return. But just listeds, pendings, and just solds. Remember that when you get in your farm, if you get something listed, it's just listed. Then when it goes into escrow, pending, or in escrow, whatever you want to say, second flyer that goes out. And then when it closes, just sold. So it's, you've got multiple ways that you can put out on that same property and get credit for it. And then any of the contests and stuff you do. Another place to look for content, does anyone here use Keeping Current Matters?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, some of you guys do. I think it's a really good resource. There's different levels of what you can do. Here, see if I can pull it up here. Oh, I lost it. It won't do it, sorry. Now I lost the whole thing. Shouldn't have tried that. Where did you go? That's the only thing when you do PowerPoints, they don't let you go, if I'm using the presenter mode. It's not on that, it's me.
You guys have my sheet for the,
Do you wanna get it?
Is it
for,
asking
you
for-
guys have the sheet for, that's for the people that are door knocking and going to the pizza.
Okay.
We have,
Oh, the sign
I
up.
think it ended up over there.
where's,
Well, my PowerPoint's gone there, okay, good.
who's got the sign up sheet?
Is that it
It's
on
right
the
down
front
here.
part of the table?
Oh, okay. Has everyone signed it? Yeah.
Anyway, Keeping Current Matters has a lot of different ways that it can market for you. It'll market social media, it does e-newsletters, it does graphs, it does market conditions, it does all sorts of different things. And you can sign up to different levels. You can do, I think they even have a free version that is unbranded. You can get it branded to you, you can pay a little bit more and they automatically post and send out and stuff. So it kind of takes a lot of it becomes your personal assistant basically. But another area to consider using, and at least look at it for the free portion of it. But you should never be at a loss of materials, is what I'm kind of saying there. Now, another way to really stay top of mind and in focus in your neighborhood is through open houses in the farm. And this is whether you get the listing or someone else gets the listing in the company. See if you can still hold their house open. The really cool thing here is the neighbors come to see you rather than you having to go out to see them. It's kind of flips the script there a little bit. But I still encourage you to door knock to invite them to come to the open house. You will have it more, a better open house, more activity. And people that might not come to the open house might still have questions about real estate and stuff. So really powerful, good to do it there. And then I'll give you, again, going the extra mile, doing things that others aren't willing to do. Some of you have heard this story before, but Michaela early in the business didn't really have any business, but she'd hold open houses, and after the open house, she'd have a drawing where people could enter the contest. And so if she could get their address, or if she, just in the conversation, she got their name and what street they were on in the neighborhood, she could go back to title, find out where they lived. She would go back to everybody she had contact for and take them a candy apple the next day and thank them just for coming through her open house. That was how she got her very first listing. The guy never said anything at the open house, but when she went back with the candy apple just to thank him for coming to the open house, she stood out enough in his mind that he then started talking to her about listing a property that he had. So it's really doing those extra little things are what might open the door to the right conversation to get the business going. And it's not that much effort, but it does have to be timely. She did it the very next day after the open house. And as I say, if you have a drawing for a dinner for two or a bottle of wine or whatever, you might want to do at the open house. It gets people to at least sign in and give you information. Open house is a whole other seminar. There is a good, I don't know if we do have the, anyway, it might be on 805 Academy. Seems like it got lost. Anyway, when is the best time to get a referral from your farm?
Anytime.
Anytime.
Well, that would be a good answer, yes, always.
Oh,
And the
during escrow?
transaction.
Even more so, escrows can be tricky and they're so focused on like, their own drama. It's right after it closes. Right after it closes, right after a transaction closes is the best time to get a referral. So, but going back to your point, anytime is true too. And so with that in mind, people in the farm aren't necessarily thinking about giving you referrals, so you kind of want to plant the idea. So we would continually plant the idea. Now, I didn't do it just on every flyer or anything, thank you for referrals or we love referrals. I did that more occasionally because I think if it's always there, it almost gets missed. But the other thing that we did that was kind of fun is every year, right around the State of the Union address, we'd do a State of the Market address or the State of the Neighborhood address. And we dial in on a market report on the overall market, but also more specifically right in within the Madrid del Lagos, which was our farm. And so we'd always do that. And in that letter, we'd say, we couldn't have been, because we're talking about the past year, just at the start of the new year. And we'd say, thank you, you guys have contributed so nicely to our success. We especially appreciate people referring business. And so we would thank real big in that letter for referral business and really let them know that that is even more valuable to us than if they move almost, because if they move, they're gone. But if they refer business, they're still there. But the thing too is that if you get somebody who refers refers somebody to you that lives in your farm or even in your social sphere, this goes for all. There are certain people that are connectors and they're golden. They're few and far between, but when you have one of those, you want to treat them with a lot of love because if they're appreciated for what they have referred to you, they're going to want to give more. And so that's where it says thank for referrals. And you want to thank for referrals in a big way. Not so much that it's super expensive, but that it's a big, sincere way that you're thanking them. So just shooting a note with a thank you card, that's nice, that's not bad. But showing up at their door with a pretty little package that has maybe even that same gift card in it, that you're thanking them in person, and even if they're not there, you're leaving it at their doorstep, so it's a presentation more than just a note in the, as much as I've been saying how powerful notes are, it's more than just a note in the mail. Now, timing is really critical too. So somebody gives me a referral, and referrals work a number of ways. Sometimes it's like, oh, I told my friend that's getting ready to move, they should call you guys. You should be hearing from them. Okay, that's a referral. I'm still gonna thank for that. And that's probably the most important one to thank for in a sense. But because I wait, 24, maybe 48 hours, no more, and I see if it comes in. Regardless, if it does, I just think that, we made the connection. If it doesn't, then I say, hey, I'm so looking forward to working with your friends. Haven't heard from them yet, but I'm so looking forward to working with them. And here's a nice little thank you gift. Thank you so much for referring me. We'll give them our best right team service. We'll love on them or whatever. You guys make it sound nice. Now all of a sudden, I've thanked him for a referral that he knows hasn't even come through yet. Are you going to feel a little more obligated to put a little bug in your friend's ear? Oh, be sure and call them. They'll take good care of you. They'll do a good job. So now I've got him on my team for the follow-up. And same thing happens, let's say I do have the phone number, but I put out a call and we're playing phone tag, I'll let them know that. It's like, I really appreciate you referring Susie to me. I put a call into Susie, we were playing a little phone tag, but I do look forward to giving her my best, right team service and making sure she's all happily settled into her first property, or whatever, it's, I'm talking off the top of my head, I put a little more fun in, and I might use ChatGPT. So good. I was writing an email today, just a simple email thanking somebody for something, and it's like, that doesn't sound that good. ChatGPT, make it better. It's so better. So, anyway, the way you thank is so critically important, and that you thank. Now, you want to get extra bonus points on this? Thank them at the beginning, and when it closes, you come by with another thank you gift and say, just got Susie happily settled into her first condo. She's so excited. Thank you so much for thinking of me. Now you've planted that idea twice. And if a referral doesn't work out, don't ever let that person feel bad for having referred, because they'll not want to refer again. So always let people know whether or not it works out, that you always appreciate the thought. It's not on them whether or not it works out. Or that they referred you the client from where. Not heaven.
I want to run by something with you about thanking the referral. So in the case where something doesn't close out, like a lease referral, for example, like, would it be alright if we just at least like, as a courtesy, just message them like, hey, this is what I try to help them, but just wanted to say thank you for your referral?
Probably wouldn't,
What's
if
it
something doesn't work out, I wouldn't put it back on them that it didn't work out. I wouldn't do that. I'm gonna make them only feel good about referring me.
Okay.
That almost make me feel bad, and I'd like, I won't refer again.
Now, the important thing is to thank them for the referral, stop there.
Oh, just stop there.
Now, if there's good results, you can say they went on to do this. If the results aren't good, don't ever
Yeah, I
bring it up.
wouldn't do that.
Because you don't want
You're
them to
making
feel
them feel bad.
responsible for referring somebody to you that didn't work out.
Right.
Oh, okay.
If they find out organically, that's okay. I mean, that's what it is. But I wouldn't ever let them know that it didn't work out, because they're gonna make. I mean, I think, oh, I won't refer again to them. Then I feel bad. Yeah. That's how I'd be. I'm a people pleaser. Okay, I'm working on it. I'm a recovered kind of people pleaser. I try to please in the right ways, not the wrong ways. Okay. Now, a couple more things I want to talk about. Servicing the seller after the close of escrow, because these are critical. You don't want to lose touch with people in your farm. If they've moved local, for sure, they become part of your sphere. But even if they move out of area, keep them on your email list and your social sphere list, or your social media list and stuff. Because it's important that they still have friends back here. You know, they may move back here. We've had clients do that before, but you got to stay in touch with them, or they'll slip into something else. Be sure to go through the walkthrough. The way you close out the final end of the transaction is powerfully setting the stage for future business. Like I said, that's the most prime time to get a referral, but they have to feel good at the end. So the walkthrough that Ed is going to talk about at an upcoming training, I think in April, if you aren't using that, which how many people do use the final walkthrough?
Everybody
yeah.
should.
It should be all
We gotta
hands on
stick the
deck.
landing, baby.
Yes, I was going to use that.
I'm sorry.
No, it's Ed's
I've
line.
heard it over and
It's
over
Ed's
from Ed.
line. Yeah,
Stick the
stick the landing.
I can tell you invariably, there's always 3 or 4 times a year that we go back to issues with people that would have been covered had they done that.
Exactly. It's powerful. Good. This came through years of doing things right and wrong, and it's really there just at your taking. It's so important. How many of you personally deliver closing papers?
It's not a thing anymore. It's like, yeah, I don't know.
I do a thumb drive and
Yeah,
closing
that could work.
like a week later.
You can just, but you can send the
Okay,
link now.
that's okay. It's still
I
personal.
send the closing statements every January, and I
Yeah,
send it to them
I do
via
that.
email at the end, so they have it separate.
Well, that's
but
very
not in
personal of
person.
You
you.
guys understand
You're
what she said?
losing the opportunity for great personal contact. Okay, the best time to get a referral is when? After a happy close. So, don't you want to be in their face and top of mind and finishing out? Like your smiley face is the last thing they see.
So maybe a thumb drive would probably be.
It's a thumb drive. Like she said, she personally delivers it. So I always, when the closing happened, I didn't ever let escrow just send out closing papers. It's like I will pick them up. Our escrow officers always knew that. Let me know when they're ready. I will pick them up. I had my gift all ready to go. I would deliver the closing papers and the gift to the client and end on a pretty note. Now, were there sometimes problems? You know, it's like this didn't happen right, or that didn't happen right, or you know, maybe they just got into the property or deliver. I mean, you deliver keys, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope. Again,
That's
another
nice.
personal contact.
Just drop them up, throw them
Keys
up
in
there.
their gift.
Yeah,
Yeah.
keys in the
that day,
gift.
But then we don't have
The
the stuff
closing
till the
stuff,
next
yeah.
day.
So
that's
buyers,
good
all
to
you
go
guys
back,
giving your buyers the important dates, everybody
Yes,
should fill
yeah.
that out.
Yeah.
Nobody gets that in the whole world, no other, that's something your clients will get, nobody else gets, but I can't believe every client doesn't get it.
Can I tell you guys, and I'm sure you've heard this too, but we got clients that we hadn't represented on a transaction because of how we closed things out at the walkthrough and such.
Okay,
Like they were
question.
impressed
Do
with
you,
that.
because I always bring 2, but if their agent's there, do you give it to
You
like
give one
the
to,
agent?
okay, so there's actually.
Because your information's on there,
you,
right?
your buyer, the seller, seller's agent, 4.
Okay. So but it has your information on there, right? Like it has my,
No. That
It
sheet has
doesn't.
no personal information.
it doesn't have your information on it.
No, it doesn't. it's not
Okay,
like
so
your
you
criminal-
can give it to everybody, and then they can just,
Talking
the
about.
closing
The
paperwork.
right team
The
walkthrough.
The
sheet.
stick the landing,
No.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
you're talking about something different.
Don't worry.
No, it is stick the landings, but
It's okay.
it's the right team, it's the walkthrough sheet.
That's what I'm
Like
talking
all
about.
the utilities, the HOA, the
Yes,
blah, 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 all
correct.
that
So don't
stuff.
put your information on there so you can give it to everybody
Right,
and they can
yeah.
see how amazing you are, and then they can look you up later.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll
I
know who
have
you
my
are.
name on that.
So, but that seems inappropriate to give to like the
Yeah.
buyer. But so I like that.
You mean that it doesn't matter, no matter.
Whoever
listen,
is not my client.
Yeah, who's ever not my client, they get it because there's no personal information on it
Yeah,
about me.
right.
Gotcha.
So maybe
How
I'll,
come other
I'll
agents
take mine
ask
off.
me for that information?
What?
Like the utilities, the HOA, you know,
Right.
everything, right? And I will send it to them on my paper. 'Cause
Yeah.
I know they're forwarding it. Lazy.
I see, yeah, they're just gonna forward it. Smart.
Picture of me on it.
Oh gosh,
Nice.
they got a new dartboard, just kidding.
They're always looking at it.
You know what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I would never feel threatened by that if another agent did it because I'm all over my clients. So if somebody else's face shows up on something, so be it. I don't care. I don't feel
They will
threatened.
anyway, and
I need to do my job right. If I'm doing my job right, I don't get threatened by
Yeah.
other people. It's
Yeah.
only if you're not doing your job right that you need to like, "Rrr," you know, and so that's a reflection on them and how they do their business. But also you've got to be ethical. So, but that's not an inappropriate thing to do, what you do, Mace. Then also let them know that you want to be their realtor for life and put them in your client hall of fame. I don't know what all we'd have in it today because we haven't updated it, but if I was doing it today, I would have a client hall of fame. I'd have some things that I say I do for my client above and beyond, even when they're not going through a transaction. And most of the stuff you do anyway, but it just makes them feel special. But I want to tell you, just letting people know you want to be their realtor for life is a powerful statement. We always do it. I think as you've learned your listing and buyer presentations, it's in both of those. And you've probably heard the Ken and Jeannie story, but where we were shocked that they called us in to list their home. They had been clients of ours years earlier, but in that time that they'd been in the home, they had become really close friends with another couple that happened to work in our office at the time. They haven't for
Hungers.
years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and but they were like bowling buddies. I mean, they were BFFs, and yet we got called in to list their property, and they didn't even talk to the Youngers. And we're like, okay, I'm not going to ask until we've signed paperwork, but gee, just curious. And they go, well, they looked at me like kind of puzzled and said, well, when we met with you and to buy this house, you said we were your clients for life, so we just automatically knew that we'd go through you. So how sweet. So just, I think that was a little simple thinking. I don't think everybody thinks that simply, but nonetheless, it planted the idea that they valued that we were our clients for life, and we were their realtor for life. So don't think those words don't count. They do. Then also servicing the new buyer after the close of escrow. So the client moving into the neighborhood. Now the escrow's closed, free game. Stop by and welcome them to the neighborhood. And I would go so far as to say, this applies, you're gonna have some transactions where you didn't get the listing and you didn't represent the buyer. They're brand new to the neighborhood. Stop by and welcome them. If it is your client or you are representing the seller and the buyer's just moved in, there might be some problems. You know, the garage door is kind of working weird or whatever, you know. And sometimes it's even things we shouldn't have to fix, but just try to be as helpful and fixful. I like that. Made a new word. As fixful as possible. But start building rapport and give them your business card and invite them to call you if they have any questions. We're so afraid of the problems. You know, we don't want to have to be the problem solver, but that's our job. So it's what we get paid the big bucks for, and we do get paid big bucks. So don't be afraid of, you know, coming through that way for them and just offering that. And a lot of times there aren't problems. There aren't always problems. But if you have a welcoming pack that you just have all set and ready to go, ours used to have like a community cookbook because that was one of our projects one year, referral guide, one of our project 2 different times, maps of the area. Those things are all kind of obsolete because of the computer now, but there are other things that you could put together in a welcoming pack that would be valuable in the neighborhood. You might even get some of the local businesses to contribute a little something to it to help draw business in their direction. Miss Chamber of Commerce, you probably have some thoughts on that. I saw you kind of thinking there. But I think Doug, you posted something along the lines of this, where you can take the guy went around with a card in the neighborhood, didn't he, to have people sign and welcome to the neighborhood? Wasn't that you? Somebody put it on Facebook.
I just did that last night.
Okay, how did it go?
Well, I did it actually within like 2 years or 2 weeks-ish, the last 2 weeks that I've been to the property. Because
Right.
not every neighbor's always home. But I gave the card last night is what I meant to my
So
buyers.
sweet, yeah. But what a really neat thing, like especially in a geo farm, because you're showing again how much you care and want to welcome the person to the neighborhood. one of the things that, this was a flyer I did for, Regency or Aviar one time, but it basically, you could take cards out to the neighbors and say, here, would you like to, there's a lot of different ways you could do this. In other words, you could take cards around to the neighborhood and say, so-and-so's moving into the neighborhood, and if you ask them and they'd let you do a little bio on them, even better, you can hand it with a bio and say, this is gonna be your new neighbor, why don't you write this little card to welcome them, and see if they do that. The one on Facebook, I think, was you went around and had everybody sign it.
I saw that.
And then you delivered it like she just did. Or if you have again, people have made really good careers out of doing farewell parties or welcome to the neighborhood party, housewarming parties or farewell parties. Another great way to do it. And it isn't like it has to cost you tons of money. You could, if you're gonna serve food, you could do it, just pizza.
Taco
and soft
guys,
drinks,
some taco guys
guy.
are really cheap.
It could be a donuts and coffee morning, come by and say hi. One of the gals who had no money to spend on doing this wanted to do it for her clients, and she just offered, they did their own welcome party and food, but she said, I'll go around and take pictures of everybody, and that was actually a farewell party. So she was meeting all their friends as the realtor, and she had a little t-shirt on that represented that. And she went around and took the pictures, and then she got their contact information so she could send the pictures to each, email it back out to all her friends, and then that built into her social sphere database, and plus they saw her doing something above and beyond as the realtor, and hopefully that person talked nice about her. So there's some really wonderful things that can come out of this. We had a guy, I was out doing morning, I normally didn't do early Saturday morning handouts, but I obviously this week didn't have a lot of time, so I was out real early in the morning on a Saturday morning just doing pass outs. And I came by this house where these guys had just closed on their house, and water's just gushing. And I asked him, I said, is everything okay? He goes, no. He goes, I can't get this water to stop. He goes, I need a plumber. And I go, oh, we just did a new referral guide for the neighborhood. Let me run back and get one for you, because he was new to the area, didn't know anybody. And so I came back and gave that to him. And long story short, this house ended up being way too much maintenance for them. And 3 months later, they wanted to list. We hadn't represented him on the buy or the sell. And but he went with us. So we helped him get into a condo, which was far less maintenance. And he even took our boys fishing on the lake.
That's right.
And then
Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, and then on Sanaho, again, another house where I just welcomed them to the neighborhood. They had not bought or sold through us. We did actually sell and buy it. Oh, we did have a lot of homes we did list her. I'm telling all the stories of ones we didn't. But on this one, we hadn't represented either party. And yet they saw how hard I was working. We were working in the neighborhood with our handouts and our pop buys and stuff. And a month later, they had a friend to refer. They hadn't been impressed with their own realtor, so they referred the friend to us. So I'm just telling you guys, doing these little extra things is huge, and it's part of what built our business so much, is doing the extra little things. So I think I'm supposed to be done, but I still have more to go. So if anyone needs to leave, I can respect that. Yes.
So in regards to your closing packet buyer, that you didn't represent, but you're taking them this welcome, are you talking specifically in your farm? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do it to another agent. I like it, like you sold the home and then the buyer moved it. I wouldn't do it like that, no. That,
Only in your farm?
only in the farm,
Correct.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Cause I'm doing it as a representative to the neighborhood type thing. Okay, so plan your work and work your plan, and this is something I really wanted to dial down on. So you basically have 24 handouts a year, cause you're doing every other week, right? I guess it's not doing every other week, you said there's a few less than that. Anyways, so first of all, you're gonna decide your 4 door knockings. So start with the big and go to the smaller. So you've got 4 door knockings. With that, you're gonna have basically 4 tags that you need to design. So, because I know this sounds like a lot, but it's not gonna be as big once you start doing it. Then you figure out your 6 promotional items. Remember, like the Oscar contest, the Valentine promo, the Mother's Day promo, whatever you're gonna do, Easter egg contest, coloring contest. And then figure out your one event that you're gonna do. And for purposes of demonstration here, I'm gonna use the ice cream truck. Super easy peasy. It seems like that would be the 6 plus the 4 plus the 1. You're gonna have 11 handouts already, right?
Right.
Not so, because you got your 4 tags, you've got your promotional items, and let's say you do the Valentine promo, then you have to report the winners. You do the Oscar contest, you have to report the winners. The Easter coloring contest, you report the winners. Mother's Day, report the winners. You get the idea. All of a sudden, you have 15 handouts already. And we haven't even done anything business-wise yet. Then, we still have a project to do. So with the ice cream truck, you're gonna tell them it's coming, remind them that it's coming, then share pictures of the event and thank them for participating. Now we're up to 18 handouts, and we haven't even done anything business-wise. Do you see how it's not so hard to come up with content? And especially if you plan it globally and work backwards, then all of a sudden you can start doing more things that have to do with what's current, like just listed, pending, just sold, open house, market reports. Those types of things, because you do need to have the business in there too. I don't want you to be all social and all community minded. Now, another really fabulous thing to do is to create farm teams. So maybe 4 of you go together, or 4 or 6 of you go together and you say, I wouldn't get too big. 4 is probably the best number, but like Ruth, you used to do that, where you guys would get together and you would split out. Okay, we have these different tags to do, these different flyers to do, these, whatever. And let's each of us take 6 of them, and so you have 6 to do for the entire year, and then everybody else shares and just personalizes theirs to yours. And
Yeah, what she's saying is, so we each take an idea. Thanks, Angie. Because I'm like, wait, we didn't do farming. So we each take an idea for a month, and you design that flyer with your branding and everything, and then you share it with the other person, and they get a different month, and they can do theirs. So then everyone has one for each month, and you're not doing the work.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was more for
all the work. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're getting shared work, but you got to make sure that you copy it through Canva, and then you save their original, you duplicate it, and then you make yours. So then we would see everyone's, possibly, unless you make a copy, right? And then you have your own in your own Canva, but you never want to destroy the original.
Yeah, and so, and Canva's the way to go with that. And then when you've got like the company promos, if you do a couple of those, I think they do like 6 or something now, and that's to me a little, 4 is just 4 would be good. 6 they were up and doing too often, I thought. But yeah, 2 to 4 I think is a really good number to do of those. But yeah, that's all done for you. You don't even have to do it yourself. So that's how I'd suggest doing it, is kind of setting out the events, the door knockings, your promo events, and the one event, or the promo item and the events. And then once you have that figured all out, then you're gonna have to break it down even further. Now this is gonna get a little micromanaged here, but just taking the idea of distributing Christmas candy and Martinelli's. We did the candy to our client, Social Sphere, and Martinelli's to the Geo Farm. But this is how I would diary it on my calendar. So taking each of those other items, the event, the promotional items, and the door knocking, I would break each thing down, any extra activities or action steps I have to take, and I would put it on my calendar. So now I've got globally done for the entire year what I know I have to stay on top of. And then I just need to kind of follow the process. I don't have to always be wondering, I've got to start working. I don't need to start thinking about my family photo. I know it's on my calendar, and then when it comes up on 10/15, I've given myself margin. So I gave myself 5 days here to get the photo done. And I've obviously given some thought to it prior to that. Order my Christmas cards, and then writing the Christmas newsletter. I give myself big margins here. So the bottom line was, I wanted to have everything stuffed, stamped, sealed, organized, ready to go out before Thanksgiving, so I could enjoy Thanksgiving. And then starting right after Thanksgiving, I started hitting the pavement with my hitting the pavement hard, Ed. No, hitting the pavement with doing all my door knocking in
Hit
the
the ground
farm
running.
and the
She mixes up her
Yeah,
metaphors
I do.
all the
So
time.
cute.
I go, boy, when we get back from this trip, I'm gonna hit the pavement hard.
You die.
So, oh well, I knew what I meant. But
That's all that matters.
I know what I meant.
yeah. So anyway, so it takes the constant thought, like, where am I with things? Oh, I missed that. I should have gotten that done and I didn't, and things are past now. I can't do it anymore. It has you doing things like, if I was going to do the State of the Union address or State of the Neighborhood address, I'd block it out like 3 weeks before to start working on that. Because you know what? the whole idea is that we build business and we have buyers and we have sellers, and that all gets a little crazy on top of everything else. So you have to have big margin in these things, so that if you are really busy, like as a for instance on this, you see that I started handing out on the 1st of December, and I had as my cutoff date December 17th, my birthday, because I just wanted to be done by my birthday. But I know it only takes me about 12 days to get this in, because I'm doing the social during the day and the door knocking of the farm at night is what we did. But I also know that in that time of year, maybe I get invited to a Christmas lunch. I want to be able to do that, and not feel like, oh, now I'm going to be behind. So I gave myself margin and buffer there to be able to get it all done. This I've all talked about. These are all the things we've talked about. But behind it, I have the 12-week year. That's a really good book if you want to really, we did groups with that for a while, but it's a really good way to get yourself organized, to really plan and execute in a real successful way. Because success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. Not really, like I said, there was no magic in what we did, but we definitely did we were the most successful at geofarming, 400 agents at our company. And it was only because we were just really consistent and very personal with what we did. And we were willing to do what others weren't willing to do. And that's what it boils down to. So my question to you, are you willing to be successful? And how will we know? By the results. So.
Angie, would you mind
Great
sharing
job.
that presentation?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Good reminder.